Alrighty then.
I'm trying to buy a ship. This friggin' thing won't sell. Stupid Samson, I don't like you. Go away.
It's not Akuma. Akuma. The way Rush says it. Not Akuma.
Akuma.
It's not Akuma. Let's see, I got 2 on. Can't do it. I don't think. Two. I could upgrade the gun. I'm waiting to get 3 on this so I can 20% to acquisition range of torpedoes. I was trying to get that. If I can just shoot that Minocause a little bit longer here, I need another 4,500 XP. And I'll have a 3 and I can get a longer range torpedo on it. Because right now, Corp has 7-kilometer range, which isn't bad. Not bad, really.
Yeah, my Tenru has a 7-kilometer range on torps.
Just about any Japanese vessel is 7.
Yeah, but I never shoot from 7. I usually shoot from like 2 or 3.
Now, when I upgrade my torpedoes on the Furtaka, that'll go 10-kilometer range.
They can turn out of them when they're that far away, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna let me ready up now?
We're ready.
I'm clicking ready. It's not happening.
Clicking ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Click your ship again.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me research the language, it wouldn't let me buy anything, it wouldn't let me sell anything.
I'd back out of the game and come back in then.
Yeah. We'll re-invite you. I'll just remove you from the division and let me know when you come back in, and I'll just re-invite you. We'll wait on you. Something's not right with it. Something's locked up or froze up or something. Close the whole thing completely out. Start all over.
I want to bring up the menu. Okay.
Huh?
Wouldn't let me bring up the menu either. And that's the task manager.
As I say, just Alt F4.
Wish you could cruise around when you're in port. Wish you could like give it the gas and cruise around the port, you know? Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Hey, crazy. What's going on, man? Long time no talk or see.
Wow, a bunch of the ships are on sale.
Huh?
Yeah, go to your tech tree. Look at all the ships with the little percentages off on them.
Yep, I am in TeamSpeak. Tech tree, and then do what?
Look at all the yellow tags.
Hey. Oh,
Yeah, they're all on sale.
damn.
Special ends in 1 day, 9 hours.
Damn, there you go.
Too bad I'm not anywhere near ready to upgrade. I mean, it's still a little ways away. I wish I could get the Fertaka upgraded. I want that upgraded more than I want the Clemson. I don't really want the Clemson into the Nicholas.
The Fertaka.
Yeah, I can't wait to get rid of that ship.
What is that, a Japanese ship?
Japanese. It's a cruiser.
Aoba's a good ship.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. But I need another 30,000 friggin' XP for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
crazy, I'm in TeamSpeak. I don't know if you're coming in or not, but come on in. Hang out. Talk to me there, Chief.
Ooh, got me a Langley now.
Are you ready? If you were in... I hadn't clicked ready, but... kind of weird. I re-invited you again.
Okay.
I was so freaking close to firing off tarps to get my fourth possible kill.
God, he's going to use the aircraft carrier? Ooh.
Oh, I never used one before.
Oh, well, they're a learning curve. Because you're just looking down on the map of all the ships on the map. Don't get too close to the ships before you drop your torpedoes, because they'll just they go right through. It's like they don't arm themselves, you know. You have to be like, I don't know, a couple kilometers from them before you can dump your torps.
Yeah, lovely map we're doing too.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, there's another one. There's Crazy Ass Gaming. I got Crazy Media 1976 and Crazy Ass Gaming. A lot of crazy people. Sounds like a nut ward. Just kidding. Where we going, Aaron? Right down where? All on you.
I guess down the number 1, number 2 line. The line I'm right on, just due south.
And 4. I'll be right behind you. For a little bit.
Yeah, because you'll outrun me.
It's not the Kuma.
Oh.
I don't have a carrier yet, so I can't help you with it. I don't know much about them.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, we were just talking about that. All the ships that are on sale. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy ass gaming. There's Crazy. He's in chat. We're in TeamSpeak with us. What's going on there, brother? Not talking.
I'm confused what's happening right now. How do I move the camera?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Crazy doesn't have his mic turned on. There he goes.
Yeah. Don't hear no sound though, buddy.
Where are my planes going? Where are you guys going?
I don't know how to tell you how to do that because I know nothing about carrier yet. I have not gotten one, so I have no idea.
Yeah, you're on your own, brother. We can't help you.
I'm trying to get one, but I got to get to South Carolina and the Kawachi both up to the next ship before I can get them.
How about now? Can you gentlemen hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, amazing when I click on the right button, right?
There you go. It was lighting up, but the lights were on, but nobody was home.
I'm used to that one too. How you been, brother? How you been? We ain't talked in forever and a day.
I know you don't come around no more, man. Good to see you.
You know what? I signed on with Orbit Gaming, and they've had me grinding out with getting back to my roots of content creation. Been focusing on Orbit Gaming's Call of Duty World League in Australia. So,
ooh, cool.
A couple of videos a week. Their content team has needed help for a while, and they've been to be honest, if hopefully my old CEO from Vex isn't watching, but they've been trying to poach me for about a year, and I finally acquiesced because I took a look at their content that they were creating. It's like, okay, you're supposed to be Orbit Gaming, you're supposed to be a top 20 team in the world, and this is what you're posting. Yeah, you need help. I'll come give you a hand.
Oh man.
It's not entertaining. So I've just been helping out and kind of coaching up the team a little bit on what people want to see and just bringing my skills to it. It's not that I have a great skill set, but I have a lot of experience and an idea of what people like to see. So,
yeah.
But it's been fun. It's been a new adventure. For me, it's just kind of, retrospective. I'm just kind of pulled back to my roots and just focusing on the team and just having fun with their content. That's it's nice to just get back to my roots and just say, you know what, I'm just going to have fun for a change instead of fucking fixing everybody's computers and teaching them how to edit.
Yeah, no shit, man. Oh yeah.
That's why I've been in your streams, but I've been retweeting your stuff and seeing it because I still think you've got the best iRacing stream on the web. So. You don't get the most hits, but I think yours is probably the best quality. I mean, hands down, you have some, your latency is spot on. You've got your syncing perfect with your capture device. With your new graphics cards, the graphics are amazing. Very little lag. I mean, every once in a while, but I don't think it's on your end. I think it's on the server's end. When they just decide to have a fucking brain fart and not do shit for that 30 seconds or whatever. But it's not on you.
Yeah.
Your shit's straight. So sometimes I just stop in for a little while and I don't even hop in the chat because I'm fucking nose deep in an editor. But I'll watch. I listen to you guys all the time. And of course February. It's 2 weeks away, baby. Daytona.
Watching pork, Aaron.
Except for my boy, he broke his back.
I know. What a bummer, man.
Me and my woman were talking about that. They're like, well, it was a non-racing incident. And me and her, knowing Tony Stewart, because we're both fans, are like, yeah, it may have been a non-racing incident. He's out there fucking romping a sand dune in the middle of nowhere, and he got a little nuts.
Well, you know what? They were talking about, some of those drivers are under contract that they're not allowed to go out and do that shit.
Right. Well, this is Tony Stewart. He's the boss. You're not going to tell him what he can and can't do. And this is his...
But he's still got a partner, Stuart Haas.
It is. I don't. Everybody's saying, oh, he's going to miss this race. He's got a compressed vertebrae and a stress fracture with it.
Yeah.
You know, so he's in a lot of pain. But this is a tough man, and this is a race that he's never won. Since we have seen no statement from him, I got a feeling he's going to be in that Daytona 500. They're going to strap him in, and he's going to fucking. You betcha.
Oh yeah.
He'll start it, and then he'll pit.
And
then someone will take over. He won't drive the race. He'll make it to the first caution.
Well, that's entirely possible as well. But you know, he's one of the toughest men in NASCAR. He's raced with broken bones before, but this is a back injury. And you know, if this was Bristol, there's no way. No way. That racetrack is too hard on the body. This is Daytona.
Right.
Restrictor plate. So this is a gain-loss situation where, you know what? The car's built to handle, so it's not going to be so hard on his body. He's going to still feel the G-forces, but if he can keep his nose clean and race, it wouldn't, you know, not be. I mean, it's not going to be the most comfortable situation, feeling that 3.5 G's going through the bank turns, but you know. But he's also, you know, he's not a spring chicken anymore either.
Hey, I'm going to ask you something. Didn't you talk to me one time? Somebody did. About esports.
Yes, that's me. I'm a big esports fucking fan and guru.
Right. Okay. Now, that being said, you said something to me about broadcasting.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, a guy that I know on Facebook said that he's involved with that esports.
It's big, man. You've got a little bit of a niche going on. I've been watching you.
But he said that you got to have real cameras and blah blah blah. He's going on and on and on about stuff, and
you can. It depends on how far you want to take it.
Right.
And you know, since you're an online medium where you don't have full-on LAN events, being your local area networks, there's no reason for you to even invest in that. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could do like a Skype conversation with several drivers in your situation and put their cam that you see on their screen in like a small corner so you can see what they're doing the whole time. For full esports production, that's a completely different monster. You're not going to do that on a home-based PC. Yeah. You know, it's just the software is not feasible. PCs, I mean, unless yours might.
I'm gonna die.
But you know, in the end, full-on esports production, yes, you're talking, you know, renting an arena, getting several computers hooked up on one network, so that way there is no latency. You know, you're talking, instead of 50 to 100 millisecond ping time, you're talking 2 milliseconds. So it's, you know, it's so fast that there's literally practically no latency. I think that's what he's touching base on, because that's where esports kind of is defined, where everything's moved online as far as getting set up for these events. Yep. But in the end, the tournaments are always held on what's commonly referred to as on LAN, because then you're eliminating that variable called connection. Yep. And yes, that does take special cameras. You can actually buy a TriCaster rig for about $5,000, and it comes with everything you need, the full setup. Of course, this is just, you know, the box that you plug into your computer to handle the broadcast, to handle all the cameras. The future investment, of course, is the soundboard, all the microphones, all the high definition cameras, tripods, people to operate them, somebody to run the whole system and switch cams and things like that. Yep. It's an investment. If somebody wanted to delve into hosting LAN tournaments, it's an investment, but it can be done. Michigan Esports is a great example, as the company that started out online, and now they're hosting 25K tournaments for Call of Duty and Halo by the end of the year. And it's a great example if the owner and the staff are just truly dedicated and willing to grind for 2 years and invest their own time and sometimes even their own money on these things to build a successful product. It does happen. Yeah. You know, you're based online. You don't need any of that. That's so overkill. It's ridiculous. You know, if you were averaging 1,000 viewers and had your own racing league where you had a strong following and whatnot, and a LAN might be feasible for you, because you would have that fan base and people would be willing to invest to pay you to show up. Because that's where these guys make their money. They make their money on 3 things: viewers, sponsorships, and the open bracket teams that show up, not the sponsored teams, because the sponsored teams are already funded. Even though the company still gets that $300 team entry, guess what? You know, that's already paid for, so they don't invest much on a personal level. It all comes from the open bracket. You know, when you have 150 teams playing Call of Duty in an open bracket and everybody's paid $300 to show up just to get a ticket into the door and compete, much less hotel fees and whatnot. Oh yeah. You know, now you've got a lot of money changing hands real quick. You know, and I'm sure if people were, you know, in the chat, I don't know how many viewers you got, but, you know, I may get roasted for preaching on Call of Duty because a lot of people, oh, Call of Duty's dead. You know, it'll never match CSGO in numbers. Well, no console esport has ever matched PC in sheer viewership numbers. And, you know, if you want to talk esports, League of Legends is God. You know, 16 billion viewers worldwide for the League of Legends World Championships last year. I mean, come on. You know, ain't nobody competing with that. You know, there's only two companies in the entire world that can compete with that kind of viewership, and one of them is Disney. The other one's PewDiePie, because I don't even know how that kid got that big. But
I know it. That's unbelievable how big he is.
He is the largest YouTuber. He has got more subscribers than everybody. He has the most subscribers on all of YouTube.
Yep.
Including Disney. And it's not like this is Disney, for God's sakes.
Yep. I know it.
You know, they've had the lockdown on their media for decades. You know, they know how to promote themselves, and they've got more viewers than that.
I know it. It's crazy.
Oh, I'm going to hit in.
But, you know, to be honest, other companies are starting to take notice of this esports growth, and not just League of Legends, not just Counter-Strike Go, but Halo, Gears of War, of course, has a pro scene now. You know, it's growing and it's expanding because it's turned into a multi-billion-dollar company. They just had a Halo tournament on the X Games, and it was featured on ESPN. And fucking, you should have seen the athletes raging on Twitter. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
how can a video gamer get an X Games gold medal? It's like, don't you even know what the X Games are? It's pushing the boundaries of what's defined as sports. It has nothing to do with extreme. That's your guys' tag.
Well, this guy he made me act like I didn't even know what the hell I was talking about. And I said, well, I can't remember. Somebody told me about it. And I said, I'm just telling you what he told me.
You're just having fun doing what you love, and that's what people respect. That's why you get viewerships. You know, it has nothing. It has nothing to do with esports. It's just since you are very much more iRacing and internet sports related with the racing series, and you stream regularly, you've become a target. You know, you're going to start getting more and more people like myself that approached you with this whole grandioso plan, quote unquote. You know, because you know. And as you get more popular, you're going to start getting more and more people doing that. Just be mindful that there's going to be people taking advantage of it. You know, your viewerships are there now that you could apply for partnerships with TGN. You're a successful enough streamer. You're a successful enough YouTuber. You could start making 5 cents a click, 10 cents if they click on an ad. You know, you are there. The content is there. The entertainment value is there. You have the fan base and the following. You know, those are the pieces of the puzzle. You're there. Your channel and what you're doing is set to explode if you're to keep the grind up for another 3 years and get the right people on your back. Really, you are. And that's I even warned you the first time we talked. Hey, I'm not going to be the first one coming to you, man. I used to work for TGN. I used to be a scout. I know how to find these content creators, and you're one of them. That it's only a matter of time before more and more people target you. Because once one does, and see, I don't work for TGN anymore, so I didn't ever enter your information into what would be the partnership database per se.
Yeah.
You know, I'm freelance. I discovered that working with partners, unless you have the same goal, which is what we touched on, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? If you don't have the same goals and the same passion, it doesn't work. And that's what I've learned. So that's why I stick with freelance. And I'll bounce around community, whoever needs the help. You know, because I'm a fan first. You know, it's a hobby for me. If I wanted to launch my own YouTube fucking channel and do all that shit, sure, I could do it for the next 3 years and maybe come out on top. But it's more fun for me just to fucking hang out with the pro players and learn something about it all. Because guess what? As the community grows, eventually my skill set will be in very, very high demand. Yeah. Because I have back knowledge, you know, and I could say, you know, and, you know, people will want to acquiesce a little bit to what I suggest, you know, but I've been doing esports for, how long have I been doing esports now, my baby, since what, Black Ops 1? Yeah, Black Ops 1 is where I started, and then, you know, and then also Halo, and then Gears of War was real big then. I've always kind of focused on console, because PC, you know, it's a needle in a haystack as it is.
Yep.
And on PC, you're just a smaller needle in a bigger haystack.
Yep.
And that's what Twitch and YouTube has turned into as content creators. You know, the haystack is, you know, 40 billion strong sometimes, it feels like. Mm-hmm. And you're not even a needle, you're a speck of sand underneath it all, because fucking there's so many people posting so much crap, it's hard to filter through it. So people don't search anymore for this stuff. They have their channels that they go to, and that's it. So you have to be fucking brazen to bring in the views. You got to do giveaways. You got to feature other players and the personalities that forge it forward. Motherfuckers. In fact, I was just talking to a YouTuber just the other day, and he was more than willing to come onto Orbit and help, but he wanted us to pay him on top of his gratuities. It's like, wait a minute, what? He goes, well, yeah. He's like, well, yeah, if, you know, when we get partnered, I want not only my percentage of the partnership, so, you know, for whatever, how many hits I get, I want that percentage, plus another 20% of the overall. And I'm like, excuse me?
Wow.
Excuse me? And this is not the first time I've had this conversation. Streamers too. If you want to recruit streamers to your channel, a lot of them well, I want a percentage if you're partnered. They're not even in it for the fun anymore. And when I hear those conversations, you're done. I don't want to work with you.
Yeah, anything. It's like anything anymore. It's all about the money, and it's like, wow, really? You know.
And, you know, I've been doing this for 7 years. I've been given a controller, lots of handshakes, and some good praise.
Yep. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't ever cut yourself short, because there's nothing wrong with that. There's less of that in the world today.
There's no, and that's why I sacrifice my time, because I'm a fan first. And you know, back when I started doing the YouTube thing and and this was Twitch, was when it was Justin TV, when I started doing all of this fun stuff with the video game and just producing content and whatnot, it was a completely selfless act. Yeah. I can get in contact with any tournament org. Mm-hmm. All I had to do was send an email. Hey, you know what? I got a YouTube channel with 1,000 subs, and I need ideas for content. I want to feature you. Mm-hmm. Let me get some weekly content up on your behalf. And they were all over it. The motherfuckers would line it up. They would even sign over licenses to their content directly to me. So that way nobody else had the rights of the content but me. They would be willing to do that. Nowadays, fuck. They're like, well, can you post it on our channel? And it's like, no, I got a channel with 1,000 subs. I'm trying to promote you, not build you. That's not my job. And I'm going to do it for free. No, we don't want that. We want it on our channel so we can grow ourselves. I'm like, so you're going to pay me? Well, no. Well, then you're fucked.
Yep.
You know, I'm coming to you with an offer of fucking free promotion. All I want is to be able to post it on, you know, do what I want with it. Creative freedom. No. It's, you know, we got to get paid first. Fuck off.
Yep.
Yeah. Fuck off. If you're in it for the money, you're in it for the wrong reasons. But, you know, there's a reason why teams like Optic, TK from Call of Duty, you go over to Halo, you've got Cloud9. You know, there's a reason why these teams are successful. Number one, they have the great personalities to go with their teams. They have a strong team base. And number three, it's not about the money for them. Yeah. Yep. You know, it's not about the money. They're passionate about what they do, and they're just lucky enough to make money on the side. Period. Mm-hmm. You know,
I'm catching up to you, Dad. I had to restart the game.
I know. I'm just passionate about content creation for video gaming. fucking, it's changed so much so drastically in the last 3 years that sometimes I'm fucking disgusted by it.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting. If you're and I run into a lot of YouTubers, oh, I want to get partnered. Well, let me see what you got. And I look at him, it's like, really? Why would we partner this? Well, it's entertaining, isn't it? I'm like, no, it's like watching fucking paint dry. Well, how did this person get big? And all they do is talk. No. If you watch all of their content and you go back to when they first started, they posted the team edits and the montages and the personalities. They trolled the shit out of people. They were entertaining. Now they have a fan base. They can post what they want and people are stupid enough to watch it. You're not there yet. You got to be entertaining first. PewDiePie is a great example of that. Markiplier is a great example of that. His trolling videos get blown up, a couple million hits.
Yep.
The rest of them, a few 100,000, but it's still paying clicks. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I know, and it doesn't help that the Xbox and your PC and now your PlayStation 4, next will be the Nintendo NX, and with this little handheld piece of shit, everybody will be able to just push a button and share their content directly to their YouTube channel. So the haystack is growing exponentially, so your needle is just that much smaller, I
know it's getting ridiculous.
And it's just garbage. I almost wish they would create a YouTube network that was exclusive. Invite only.
Yep.
They would clean it up.
Engine boost deactivated.
They would clean it up. Get your top 30,000 YouTubers for gaming, and they're trying to do it with YouTube Gaming, but since YouTube Gaming is connected directly to your YouTube account, any fool with a YouTube account can stream on YouTube Gaming. That's not exclusivity. That's just making another haystack.
Yeah, really.
I mean, I watch your streams directly from YouTube itself, but I can go to YouTube Gaming, type in your link, and it will take me right to another. It looks just like Twitch, but it's YouTube Gaming, and you're still streaming because it's coming from your channel that it's linked to. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
No.
Yeah, when you stream on YouTube, you're streaming to YouTubeGaming.com as well.
Oh yeah. I did know that. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, because I actually put that on my Facebook page that you can actually go there and watch it.
Yeah, it's a better interface. It's more streaming oriented.
It is. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things, the haystack grew exponentially when they did that. We were talking how many YouTubers out there that have channels, much less active channels. So you have to be flashy, you have to be crazy, you have to be stupid to get noticed. And you've already done all that, I've been to a couple of your streams where you're rocking 300-400 viewers, and the chat's blowing up, and cars are wrecking, and you got a couple guys casting with you, and it's very entertaining. But you have a niche market too, which helps because you're e-racing, you're iRacing. That it's a completely different monster. I actually let my iRacing elapse on me because I gave it a shot. I just can't tune a car for fucking shit. What I learned about cars doesn't really apply to oval tracks.
Yeah.
It's I got to where I was turning 51 seconds at Daytona, and I felt pretty good about that until I saw guys pulling 46s, and I'm like, whoa, really? You guys are. I need a lot. I got a long way to go.
46 was draft.
Yeah, they were drafting, but that's beside the. I couldn't even come close to that in the draft. Not even close. It's just my tuning was that far off. I had my car handling fucking great, but if I'm doing 10 miles an hour less, well, of course the car handles great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep, handles a whole lot better.
Well, yeah, you're not fucking ass out in the wind, fucking hair on fire.
Yeah, no shit, man. I've seen some of them guys drive like that. Damn.
Especially California. I was watching right before my expired. I just did a practice lap. We were just running California, and since California's so wide, these guys were practically drifting through the corners.
Damn.
And it's like, don't you worry about your tires? I'm like, well, no, we're just worried about qualifying time. So they were just, balls to the wall, pedal to the metal, just how fast can they turn a lap. And they were practically sideways coming off the corners.
Yeah.
But they had, But they were just working. But they were testing. They were qualifying. It was fun to watch. And it was fun to run with them. I had nothing for them. I just stayed high and said, you know what? Let me know you're coming. If you need my spot, I'll move. I don't want to fuck up your time. It's just fun running with you. They were cool guys, though. They helped me with some setup stuff, but they just ran so fucking loose. It was crazy.
Yep. Going to see guys?
And see, I either run with a steering wheel. I got a shitty little Mad Cat steering wheel that's not force feedback. It's spring fed, so it doesn't have that fight in the corner, so it's a little difficult. Or I run with a controller, and a fucking controller on iRacing is abysmal.
Yeah.
It's abysmal. It's fucking abysmal.
Hey, I did it with
a
I raced for
joystick.
years with joystick.
Really?
Yes,
Kudos
I
to you,
raced-
homie.
I
Kudos
raced
to you.
NASCAR 4 for years online
Kudos
with
to
a bunch
you.
of people with a joystick, and I was not the only one. There was one other guy that did come in, and he was racing with a joystick. And there was times where we were kicking their asses.
The big flight stick. You're talking about the big upright? Yeah.
Yeah, a joystick, Microsoft Sidewinder.
Yeah,
Was the
I
one
could,
when
I could see where that would be beneficial because you can, if you start thinking about it as a steering wheel, it's got that analog touch to it, so you can, if you hit your marks, you're going to barrel through that corner just fine. You're just making small adjustments as you go through. That would just take a fucking absolute ton of practice.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
And it's the hand of a fucking heart surgeon, maybe even a brain surgeon, because goddamn, those cars get sensitive.
Yeah, they do. But it was a whole lot different back then than it is now. Boy, now.
Yeah,
dang.
I just seen the dynamic track trailer a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, really? So the track changes now. That's interesting. And then you were talking about it,
Yep.
And you can actually see what's really cool though is if you watch the whole race, you can see the cars falling off as because their setups are roasting more tires than this guy. This guy's able to run 10 more laps than the guy behind him because he's burning his tires just to keep up.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing how whoever's doing the iRacing back end and all the programming and all the simulation stuff, they've been doing a great job, and I can't even begin to fathom the number of lines of code running at once for all that.
Yeah. Well, they're talking DirectX 11 in March, in the March build. Now that's
Not surprising.
That's going to change everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to take a lot of people. They're going to have to upgrade their equipment, or they're not going to be able to compete.
Not at the resolutions, no.
Yeah, but then again too, it's going to change a lot of the eye candy. Is pretty much all it's going to change.
Yeah, it's going to add a lot more particle effects and things like that. The reflections will be better. The shadows will be better.
Yep.
The marbles on the track will be much more defined. You'll be actually able to see the marbles in real time.
Yeah.
Things like that. I see where the NVIDIA users are really going to benefit from DirectX 11 because they built it in conjunction. It's a good thing that they didn't make that jump straight to DirectX 12 because DX12 NVIDIA is still having some issues with right now. We're probably not going to see an optimized DX12 driver for another 8 months from NVIDIA.
Well, they've got a couple of games out now. I have 2 on Steam. One is called Caffeine, and it's DirectX 12, and it plays pretty good. DirectX 12 is really not that much different than DirectX 11. It's just a little more optimized, a little more easier on your CPU and your GPU.
Though NVIDIA's having troubles with the back-end shaders. That's where they're having troubles.
Yeah.
And right now, as it sits right now, DirectX 12 performs better on the AMD's 390 series than it does on the GTX 970 series.
Yeah.
But we're talking only 2 to 4 frames per second. I mean, the difference is so negligible that you don't even notice it.
Right.
And that's because right now, since AMD is partnered with Microsoft, AMD got the inside track to help write the base code, which of course, a little bit of proprietary code writing was going on there, especially since it's AMD chipsets inside the Xbox.
Yep.
That doesn't mean NVIDIA won't get the handle on it. That just means NVIDIA was basically going, they were left out going, well, do you want more money? And everybody's like, no. we're set. Because AMD can buy their way into any software set right now. Or not AMD, but Nvidia. You know, they are the king of PC graphics cards.
Yeah.
And AMD's been playing catch up. You notice that AMD released this new Catalyst Control Center?
Yeah, Crimson.
Yeah, they just released an update to it too.
Yeah. It's just Catalyst Control Center with the new interface. There's nothing different. But that goes to show how much they're paying attention to their one and only competitor being NVIDIA. Because NVIDIA's had the GeForce Experience for a couple years now, and it's amazing. You know, you download a game, you boot it up for a few minutes, build your profile, log off, load up your GeForce Experience, run a scan, and it optimizes itself. Bingo, for your graphics card, you're done.
Yep.
Simple. And as the game progresses and gets more popular and other users play it, you get more drivers and more optimal settings because it's completely user-generated. So it's fucking amazing. You can record right there, you can stream right there, all within the same software built into the graphic card's hardware. It's don't get me wrong, Shadowplay's trash. If you want to capture PC, gameplay, you know, Fraps is still king. But it's nice that it's there, and it's nice that you can stream directly from your GPU without straining it too much by opening up 4 or 5 other applications. I mean, it's definitely for an introductory streamer. I would still recommend any real streamer go with OBS.
Oh yeah. A lot of people like the XSplit, but there's a few issues with XSplit right now with Windows 10.
It's hard. XSplit is easily a 30% harder on your CPU than OBS is.
Yep.
OBS is, and to be honest with you, if you know anything about code writing and you go into XSplit's code, it is literally just a remastered version of OBS.
Yeah.
But since OBS is open broadcaster, it doesn't take much for a coder to go in, make some changes, and call it their own. Yeah. And then they can sell it and market it. That's the nature of it, you know. I keep hearing about that OBS 2.0 coming out, and then they go, oh, it's going to be 2016, and now it's fall 2016.
They've got the multi-platform one out.
Yep.
Okay. And it's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. I don't really mind it so much, but it's a little bit tougher to get used to than the regular XSplit or OBS. I mean,
yeah, and I think that's why people gravitate to XSplit over OBS. Where OBS being open broadcaster, you have to understand what you're, or open source. You have to understand what you're looking at. Yeah. You know, the toolbox is very different. Where XSplit is all in the interface. It's super easy. It doesn't. It's literally all you got to do is sign into Twitch, and it'll fucking configure itself for your Twitch account. Yeah. All you got to do is build the scenes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not paying $10 a month for a fucking slick new interface.
No.
Fuck that.
Nope.
Excuse my French viewers. I've had a couple beers in me. But no, I'm not paying $10 or $20 for 3 months on a discount because they get a slick new interface when I can program everything to a hotkey and just minimize it and walk away.
Right.
And it's free, and it works, and it's easy on your PC, and you actually get better quality, in my opinion. And if you really know what you're doing, you can actually host some small broadcasts because you can, instead of loading up direct text, you can actually load up a notepad file as the text. So it'll read the file, and all you got to do is change the score.
Yep.
Click save, and it automatically updates, and nobody ever knows the wiser on it. You can't do that in XSplit. Yep. Yeah, there's a reason why OBS is superior for the large streamers, is because, well, they can do things like Twitch alerts and code it themselves if they want to. The fucking thing will read HTML,
Yeah.
I know nothing about writing HTML, otherwise I'd build some fucking badass overlays. My expertise is not in coding; it's in video editing. If I knew a thing about coding, I'd build active websites for people's OBSs, and I'd throw them on Twitter all day long for $10 a pop.
Yeah.
Shit, kids would line up for that too.
No shit, man.
You just load up your Hotmail page and make your changes here and there, and when you want to make a change, you just change this or click update. Link your APIs and you're done. Yeah. love the ocean effects on fucking World of Warships.
I know it. It looks real, don't it?
Yes, it does.
They outdid themselves with the water. But
But it feels like you're playing a digitized battleship because the boats feel small
yeah,
in the world.
Yep.
Where I think they're a little too maneuverable. I've seen you guys turn these things on a fucking dime. You don't turn a battleship like that in real life.
no.
If you're going to make a planned attack with a battleship, it's basically you're making one strafing run and you do as much damage as you can and you get the fuck out before they come blow your shit up.
That's right.
You don't stop and go, oh, I'm going to take this guy out. You stop, you're dead in real life. If they really wanted to make World of Warships like real life, they'd let you build a fleet, and it would be a real-time strategy,
Well, they are coming out with some new stuff now. The new, what do I want to say? Hold on a minute, I can tell you. It's not ranked battles or anything like that, but it's like team-oriented. You can get like 7 of you and take on 7 other guys.
Nice.
Now that would be pretty awesome. That would be fun.
Well, that's where you're talking fleet stuff. Yeah. That's where you're talking strategy. Where everybody's, instead of just blowing each other up, everybody's constantly jockeying for position before you unload your ammo and fucking get the fuck out.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And you do it in waves, and whoever wins that last wave is the victor.
See, I just changed scene right there, and hell, it's flawless.
Right.
You'll see it here in a minute when it comes over the stream.
Oh, I seen it. You don't have your lag set up. It was almost instant.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what a better one here. One that you'll be able to see better. There's GAC.
Yep. No, it's just a simple fade transition. It's less than a second.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, done.
And you can. The good thing about it is you can set it up on hotkeys. And that's what I like about OBS.
Do you use the built-in scene switcher? Did you get another plugin?
No, I didn't.
You just use the standard plugin?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what I use too. There's no point in adding flashy transitions. All it does is bog down your computer and lag your stream.
Yeah.
And the viewers don't care.
I try to keep my stream as smooth as I can possibly keep it.
Yep. Yeah, frame rate is everything. The good thing about you streaming on YouTube is they support 60 frames per second. Twitch does not. Hitbox just started.
Twitch does now.
Oh, they did start supporting 60 frames per second. When did that go down?
About 8 or 10 months ago.
See, that shows how much out of the loop I am on Twitch. Yep. I still stream at 30 frames per second.
But when I'm streaming here, I stream to Restream, and it wires it out. It goes out to Hitbox and Twitch at the same time.
Oh, gotcha.
And I can also plug it into YouTube, so I could have all 3 at the same time. But Restream will only let you push about 40 frames a second.
Ah, okay.
Because it takes a hell of a server to pull it in and then push it out to 3 different ones.
Yeah, I have that conversation. A lot of up and coming streamers are like, man, I want to go 60 frames per second. Well, let me take a look at your PC specs. Yeah. And it's like, you have no business pushing 60 frames per second, much less 1080p. Yeah. They're like, oh, that's why it's laggy. I'm like, yeah, your poor computer. You're making it fucking cough and choke, man. Yeah.
Well, 1080p, it takes a hell of a computer to push 1080p, 60 frames a second.
Yes, it takes an absolute beast.
Now, I can broadcast it at that to my own computer, save it as a file, and then upload it.
Yep.
I can do that all day long,
Yep, it's because your CPU can handle that, right? But your bandwidth.
Yeah, my bandwidth isn't that great. I only have 4.5 upload, and it's it's not that good.
The best you're going to push is 1080p. That's the absolute best, and that's
right. And in iRacing, 1080p, it just enhances the pixelation on the track because the track is such low grade graphics.
Yep.
It just enhances the pixelation. So I have found, all the testing that we have done 720p, 60 frames a second is the best.
You haven't tried, you try this one. There's a couple different other ones as well. Try 1600 by 900. Also try that, the 1440 by like 928, or it's like an off-ball resolution. It doesn't sound right, but it's still 16 by 9 as far as the ratio goes.
Yeah.
They're higher definition than 720. But I have found that you don't get that signal degradation from trying to push 1080p. That's what I stream at 1600 by 900, and I take that 1080p image and I downscale it so that way I don't lose what I don't get that pixelization. I downscale it directly in OBS underneath the video settings.
Right.
That seems to help for me.
Right.
But you know, you're working with iRacing. They, you know, I don't know how well they're optimized for those high-end graphics. I mean, my computer pushed 6. You know, I can run anything at 1080p at 60 frames per second with 2 GTX 970s. You know, my computer doesn't even break a sweat. It laughs at those resolutions, and for me, I don't need any more. I'm only running a 22-inch monitor, so
right.
You know, 1080p looks fucking phenomenal with everything maxed out at 120 frames per second. You know, it's fucking amazing. I don't need the 4K resolution. You know, the only streaming service right now that I know of that supports 4K is Hitbox, but you got to have fucking Google Fiber speeds to push 4K.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You know, I can do
you got to
4K.
have an upload speeds of 25 megs, and it's like Jesus Christ. Most people don't even get that for download.
Yeah, I can do 4K to my computer.
No, I had that high whenever I had Comcast Business Class. I had 25 up, 100 down.
Right. Comcast Business Class has actually been upgraded for most people. It's 300 down, 50 up, and that's supposed to jump. Then their standard services were also pretty much doubled as well. I mean, I pay for my performance package, which used to be 5 down, 50 up, which was plenty. You know, I only have a couple of computers and a couple of Xboxes, so I'm down. I don't have a lot of network congestion and things like that, so I was completely satisfied with it. But they recently upgraded us just a few months ago to 110.
Oh man!
You know, and it didn't cost us anything extra. So what it is they're Comcast is shivering its fucking boots. Wi-Fi technology is catching up. The government's gotten wise to the bullshit. You know, so now they want to put data caps on people and things like that because they know that it's only a matter of time before fiber optics gets installed and they're out of fucking business.
Yep.
Because Google Fiber right now costs half as much, and you get a full gig both directions all day, consistent like it's nothing. Doesn't even break a sweat.
Yeah.
And the only reason they can't go and install it is because companies like Comcast is like, no, we own the lines. We own the lines. You can't use them.
Yeah.
So they have to go through. They have to go through the lobbyists and the government BS to get final approval before they can go into a city. And that's that. That's changing. That ain't gonna last but another couple years. They already want to start fucking making they already want to start enabling Roku's to pick up satellite signals and things like that because they want TV. They've realized that fucking cable companies are fucking fleecing the fuck out of the American public.
Yeah.
I mean, $250 billion a year in receiver rentals alone. Receiver and modem rentals, should I say. But, $10 a month here, $10 a month there.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, you've got your Comcast modem, you've got your Comcast boxes on all of your TVs, so you have $5. Oh,
Yep.
They give you a discount for your X amount of TVs, but you're still paying $30 a month for a box that decodes a signal.
Yeah.
We'll
get the aircraft carrier in.
I can't steer.
He's out there somewhere. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I wish I had about 50 upload because I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah, you'd be.
I'd be pushing 4K.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Or at least 2K. I'd push 2K.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't want to overdo it,
Well, some people can't receive 4K, so
right.
You'd be sitting there, your chat would be blowing up. Oh, it's lagging. Well, let's turn down the settings because you're trying to stream at max settings, and I'm streaming in 4K.
I watch most of my stream, and most people can only watch it in 480. That's the most people that tune in on mine, but they're watching it on their cell phone.
Right.
You know, because they may be racing or they may be doing something else, gaming, but yet they got that propped up next to them watching the race, you know?
Yeah.
But they're
See,
watching it in 480.
I'm spoiled. I got 3 screens and internet
Yeah.
to handle multiple, so.
Oh, yeah.
I literally sit here and I'll be like, I'm playing Call of Duty, and I got Max Speed over here, and I got my boy Kostoff over here. Mm-hmm. And I got everybody's audios just tuned, so I'm kind of listening and rocking and rolling and having a good old time. Oh, you know what? I'm going to stream at the same time myself, you know?
Yep.
But that's the benefits of bandwidth. And I know that there's no reason for me to push 4K. There's no reason. No. You know, there's none. There's really none. All you're doing is consuming bandwidth for nothing.
Yep.
You know?
Well, Crazy Ass Gaming says he's watching my stream on one screen and he's playing WoWs on another screen.
Yeah, see, we're not the only ones.
Yeah, that's what I know. A lot of people that while I'm broadcasting, because they have more than one screen, and they maybe use iRacing on 2 of their screens, and the other one they keep open for like TeamSpeak or something.
Yep.
And they'll have the stream that they're racing in up on the other screen, so they can be watching it while they're racing.
Yep. Well,
I'm serious.
It's actually quite common in esports.
Yeah.
And that's why when I was when you said, "Oh, we're going to change this transition," it clicked over right. I'm like, "Oh, you don't have your lag on." It's good, you know. When I stream any kind of esports event for PA organization or anything like that,
right?
I put a 2-minute lag because I don't want the competitors or their fans watching the stream and then Skype chatting about what they're watching, giving up players' positions and things like that. Of course, you're in racing. You know, you can see everybody. Right. You know, it's a completely different monster. This isn't Counter-Strike where, you know, somebody's corner camping waiting for that opportune moment to go defuse the bomb because they're going to try to ninja defuse and they're on a 1v3 situation. You know, where, you know, somebody watching a stream can give up an important position that a player's in. So I delay the shit out of mine. And it depends on what it is. You know, 2 minutes is plenty for a first-person shooter. But a real-time strategy, you know, you got to do like 10 minutes. Yep. That's hard. That is hard on a computer. You got to have a ton of RAM to buffer it like that, because it's got to store it all before it sends it. You know, it's unless you have a VPN with a hard drive attached to it that you pay for, and then you can store it all on that hard drive and let it buffer that way. You know, but it's a completely different monster when you start talking buffering your stream because people are watching it.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't affect you, like I said, because you're already in real time, and because a player can see the position on the stream compared to where they're racing is not going to change the way they race the track. You know, it doesn't change anything. They're not getting insider information from watching the stream. Mm-hmm. You know.
Well, we had a race one time that it was at Sonoma, and we were talking about on the stream. Now we were talking about one of the strategies of one of the teams, the way they were gonna do a pit stop. Okay, wouldn't you know it? Everybody fell onto suit of that. Charles, you might remember that. That was at IWCR.
Oh, everybody was watching your stream, and you were talking strategies, and they were like, you know, that's a good idea.
Well, we kind of let it slip. I didn't, but Roger did. He let it slip, and next thing you know, everybody was doing the same thing. Yeah. So much for that strategy.
Right. No, see, that's where your stream buffer. But see, that's where once again your stream buffer would help. But in your situation, it wouldn't apply because you're talking strategy for an entire race that's 40 minutes long. Yep. You know, you're talking strategy for the last 10 minutes and how it's going to pan out. Mm-hmm. People have time to plan for that, and they hear you do it. Well, even if you buffered it, they just hear it 10 minutes later. They can still change their strategy and go with it. Racing is a completely different monster. Stream watching is not a problem for you. Yeah.
All it takes is one person to be listening to the stream, and the word's out.
You betcha.
And man, it was unbelievable.
That kind of brings what racing's really all about, though, to the stream itself, because you can't tell me those back fucking door, those shade tree deals and the behind the screen door don't go, between spotters in real NASCAR.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they do.
You know that shit fucking happens.
Yeah, They got 2 or 3 guys just doing nothing but sitting there watching TV, watching what the announcers are saying about other teams. You know?
Fuck yeah, they do. And they got, and they got the little intern that wants to be a crew chief someday.
Yeah.
Fucking running up and down the pit stalls. Hey, man, go talk to that guy over there for me.
Yeah.
And they don't have just one of them. They got like 20.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And if somebody gets a good rapport with that good team, you know who they're sending to that team a second time, and a third time, they're not going to send the new guy. No, they're going to send the guy that's already made friends with everybody over there. That happens in all sports, though. You got motherfuckers in the NFL with binoculars sitting across the sidelines reading the fucking motherfucker's tablet he's got in his hand and shit,
But we've had guys that, they had like a pit strategy plan, to pit on such and such a lap, Well, when the guy that was chasing them down and was doing a kick-ass job of chasing them down, pitted a couple of laps earlier, okay,
Right.
and they didn't know, all right,
Right.
and all of a sudden, oh, he just pitted? Okay, well, I know I got to pit. Well, hell, he might have stayed out for another 3 or 4 laps and been chased down and passed,
Uh-huh.
It does make a big difference, and like I said, that I'll tell you how that came about was there was a race at Sonoma, and what they do is after lap 10, they throw a mandatory caution.
Right.
Okay, what guys do is they come in on lap 9 and make their pit. So when they come out, they've already done their pit, and everybody else pits. They're in the lead.
You betcha. And now, from that point on, you just go backwards.
Yep. And boy, everybody heard that on the stream, and Roger goes, I think I just said something I shouldn't have said.
Yep.
And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
Yep. You beat the mandatory pit stop, so you've already got your pit done. You're out there on the lead. Now you're just worried about fuel mileage.
Yep.
If you got 40 laps to the end, then you've only got 30 more laps to run. You run your 30 laps, make your last pit stop, and then you're just on the grind to the end. That's when you start racing. That's when the race turns backwards. When you start, and that's road course racing. It don't matter what kind of. It does not matter if it's on NASCAR, iRacing, Forza, it doesn't matter. You race road courses backwards if you're in a fuel mileage race.
Yep.
It's just the way it goes. You want you want to be crossing the finish line at the exact moment you spin that last drop of gas.
Yep.
Because you're maximizing your time, because it takes so long to get around the track. You don't get away with racing tracks backwards at Bristol, Daytona, Martinsville.
Yeah.
On oval tracks you don't get away with that because the swings are so big. A car can be good for the first half, and then, twilight hits and the shadows change. Guess what? That motherfucking car that wasn't so good is now the car to beat. And he can make up 30 seconds at 40 laps.
Yeah, no shit.
That's just oval track racing. It's even, the swings are even bigger if you ever watch dirt tracks on TV.
Mm-hmm.
When they get fanned out on dirt tracks, one car can put the entire field down and lose the race because of the lapping rules and things like that. Gets in the wreck at the wrong time or pits at the wrong time, loses his lap, and now he's at the back of the field, and he can't make it up.
Yep.
Because everybody else got caught up. Dirt tracking is a completely different monster. That's why those dirt track guys go so fucking hard. It's because they know every lap could be their last in that position.
Oh, yeah.
They race their little 15-lap heats for a 30-lap finale. I learned about dirt tracking when me and my woman lived in Wisconsin. We went to the Darlington racetrack a couple times, a little place outside of, about 45 miles southeast of Madison. And it was a little half-mile dirt track. And you want to talk about a fun fucking time.
Oh, I'll bet.
And it's small community track and the loudest of fucking cars. And then they had the fun community stuff too. They had this little 4-cylinder division. This was the rules. This was the rule set. And 42 cars and a half mile too, by the way.
Oh my!
4-cylinder must be a stock drivetrain, no modifications. Okay.
Yep.
Of course, the windshield and all that had to be. You could do you could lighten it up as much as you could, but it still had to be the intact body, because it's unibody, of course, and stock drivetrain. So you're talking little Dodge Neons and Ford Focuses, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, anything and it was all legal.
Yep.
and they're fucking sideways, fucking dirt tracking it with the e-brake in these fucking corners. And at the beginning of the season, they're bright yellow and purple and these wild, vibrant colors with spray-painted sponsors on them. By the end of the season, there ain't a fucking straight fender or quarter panel on a single fucking one of them.
Wow.
All they do is that was the funnest series, wasn't it, baby? The little 4-cylinders, because I mean it was a conveyor.
You asshole. Son of a bitch.
Oh, you just got blown the fuck up.
Oh my God. Yeah, he kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth
Straight
and back.
shit.
And I'm going back and forth with him, and he wouldn't drop them torps, And all of a sudden, he dropped them 3/4 of a kilometer from me. There was no turning.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that. You can't do it. If you drop them 3/4 of a kilometer, they haven't had time to arm, and they go right through you. But by God, they blew me up, though.
Dude, they blew you the fuck up.
Yeah, asshole.
That was our favorite racing series because it was just carnage,
Yeah.
And the cars are so small and they're not turning, crazy lap times. They very rarely ended up on the roof, so there's very few cautions. It was just whoever could just beat their way to the front. It's fucking great.
Oh yeah.
And it was one of the more popular series because it was just, and any fool, it didn't cost nothing to sign up. All you had to do is have a stock 4-cylinder that you didn't mind beating up. And also part of the rule set, too, is to compete for the championship. The car you started in must finish the season.
Yeah.
So, you total it, guess what? You're done. Your season's over. You can go get yourself another 4-cylinder, but you're now out of the championship, So there was a little bit, it was just fun. And then they had what they called the Knights of Thunder, and these were, these were the super modifieds with no fucking exhaust on them. And they put 16 of them on a half mile, and they're 3 wide in the corner and only 3 tires on the track. Coming off the corner is fucking crazy. We took Eli there, the very, very close relative at the time. He didn't know what race cars were. He got to sit in a race car and got pictures of him in it, and he'd never seen anything like that before.
Damn.
Now he has no affinity for racing at all because it's too slow. It's too boring for him. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand the. He doesn't understand the mathematics. He doesn't understand the finesse that it takes to drive a car at that speed, and the fact that he has no respect for it because the fact that anytime one of these guys. What?
These tires have nut cups.
Yep, they do.
Or nut guards.
Cod pieces, yeah.
Oh wow.
No, he doesn't. He's young. He's a teenager now, so he has. He doesn't understand the respect that every time these guys get in a car and drive like that, they're putting their lives in the hands of Sir Isaac Newton.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And it's not, it's not entirely up to them, the outcome of what might happen in that race. It's up to them to keep their noses clean and drive safe and drive clean and not get anybody killed. But that doesn't mean the next guy's going to do the same thing. And it has nothing to do with mechanical failure. Something fucks up in a car and ends up in a wall, that driver might die. It's happened before, and it's going to happen again no matter how much safety happens. He doesn't understand that yet. He's a young teenager. The world just blew up for him, and he's on top of it.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the world to fucking just squat on his ass when it's time. 'Cause it'll come, huh, baby? It'll come. Okay, Mr. Teenager Man. We'll let you ride. We won't preach too much because guess what? Life is going to kick in. I remember those days when I felt on top of the world.
Oh yeah.
But no, that's why I have such a ton of respect for the esports, even though the debate is if it's an athletic event or not. These kids play their games like, for a living. And, they play, I couldn't play one video game for 8 hours a day. I putzed around with iRacing for a couple of months, and, I know a thing about cars. I've watched enough racing, I've spent enough time at the track, and I've built my share of hot rods and things like that, and I can only do so much with the setups, but these kids grind it out and make them that tick faster. They're not talking seconds. They're going for a tenth faster consistently. I have a ton of respect for that kind of dedication.
Yep.
Which is why, and it doesn't matter if it's esports or a real athlete. A real athlete, let's take the NFL with the Super Bowl around the corner. A prime example is the best NFL players will tell you, 90% of their time is not practicing on the field. They're watching game film.
Yeah. I know it.
They're not out there on the field anymore abusing their bodies. They're watching game film. They're studying. They're learning. Just like the esports guys, they're constantly playing, studying, watching other people's tactics, tweaking their setups for that extra tenth on the track.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the discipline, the rules are the same.